Welcome to the exciting rebirth of Superstar, featuring choose your membership rate as low as just $3 a month. At Superstar, you get expanded, exclusive video scopes each and every week, unlimited access to special horoscopes, class passes for Synchronicity University, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the Superstar space. I look forward to meeting you there. Hello, fabulous friends, fans, and superstars. Welcome to your horoscope for the week of May 16, 2021. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. It is a remarkable astrological week. Now, I actually see this week divided into two distinct segments. So the first happens early on, and it represents a bit of a respite. We've got some easy energies playing out there, powerful and empowering energies as well, stabilizing energies playing out. But then the energy starts to shift as we get to the end of the week with big things taking place. But ultimately, it is part of the setup for next week's very powerful super total lunar eclipse. So we really are on the precipice of very big shifts that are set to take place for us individually and for the collective as well. Now, I'll dive in a lot deeper to that lunar eclipse next week, but it is worth talking a little bit about now, because what is taking place at the end of this week ultimately sets the stage for those very big breakthroughs, even if they're uncomfortable, even if they're hard. So let's start first with what's happening early in the week, this energy of respite, as I'm calling it. On Monday, we are going to have a gorgeous alignment between the Sun and Pluto. Now, personally, this is one of my favorite alignments. Whenever it takes place, it represents a time when we are able to harness our will, to move our lives in the direction of our choosing. We have the power to transform our circumstances for the better. It is the Sun in the sign of Taurus and Pluto in the sign of Capricorn. These are earth signs. And that means that the changes made now can be practical. They are real. If we want to take steps to improve our financial circumstances, we will understand where it is that we can laser in our focus to make progress happen. Where it is that we may have situations that have a sense of needing our presence more fully. So it isn't so much about just showing up, but how present are you really for your life or for an experience or for a moment? Now, whether that moment is for another or for yourself, it is this energy that truly allows us to find the power of the present moment, the power of our senses. In fact, I would say that our five senses very likely are going to be very high at this time as we begin the week. And we'll have an appreciation as to the benefit of living that much more fully in the moment. There's so much power and peace to be found when it is that we are not overly attached to thoughts of the past or questions about the future. Now, I am somebody who loves the future. I mean, I remember as a little girl being fascinated by the future, and I still am. And I think that's why I've chosen the path that I have, or this path presented itself to me. And yet, even with that love of the future that I have, I know and I believe that we can tap into this present moment and find that much more power and presence and purpose within it. And that in and of itself sets us up for a more fortunate or easy or peaceful future of our choosing. Well, it is this gorgeous energy, this beautiful energy that's going to invite us to take action. Any kind of action that moves you in a direction of the life that you want, the presence that you want, and the present circumstances that you desire to create. Well, this energy will help us to do just that. On Wednesday, we will have a gorgeous alignment, another gorgeous alignment between Venus and Saturn. Now, these two planets are in air signs. It is Venus in the sign of Gemini, which is an energy of conversation and communication. And it is Saturn that is in the sign of Aquarius, which is pure thought, pure mind, unrestrained, unrestricted. I feel as I look at this, on the one hand, just Venus and Saturn trine can be really good for stabilizing love, stabilizing money. And this energy does speak to making progress that lasts in love, in money, having pleasure for a purpose. So the purpose can be some ambition or some outcome that you desire. So there's something productive about the joy that we cultivate now. But this is in air signs, which means it's about ideas, it's mind, it's connection with other people. And it may very well be this energy that inspires us to connect with others in a way that cultivates a feeling of stability within. We are ultimately, I do believe, regardless of your chart, something about human nature is ultimately social. We are social creatures. Throughout almost all of human history, we relied on each other very closely. It is now in the West that things have shifted in the modern world. And so it is in the West that the individual has become the nucleus of society. In the Eastern world, in Eastern thought, the family, the community remains the nucleus of society. So there's still this sense in much of the world that we remain social, we remain connected to each other. And both have their positives and negatives, right? The positive of a society that has the individual at the nucleus, well, the great thing about that is that it allows individual freedoms, individual choice. You can choose your path and go your own way. But it can be very isolating and alienating as well, which is very hard on the soul sometimes. The great thing about a more family or community-driven nucleus within a society, well, you're not alone, right? You feel connected to others. You're able to experience love from others that much easily, maintain those connections and those interconnections. However, the negatives are the expectations of others, that sense that other people are needed for your survival. That can be very difficult on individual expression or tapping into your own individual truth and feeling like you are able to live it, feeling like you have the social constructs to be able to live it. Now, this understanding of the person and society is actually really important for the sky this week, and is going to be emphasized in a few different ways. So one, of course, which I've been talking about, Venus trine Saturn. Very powerful energy. It shows us the benefits of both and how we might be able to integrate them more fully. Remember, both of these signs are social, they're connected to others, but they also have a strong individualism streak to them, especially that Aquarian energy. Now, that Aquarian energy with Saturn in its home sign of Aquarius, because remember, Saturn is the ancient ruling planet of Aquarius. At this point, as we are at the middle of the week, Wednesday, Venus trine Saturn. Saturn is standing still in the sky at this point. And when a planet is standing still, preparing to shift directions, it is at the height of its power. And so the power here can be of the individual, of free thought, of going your own way. But the power here can also be understanding the value of still maintaining those community-oriented connections. How it is that individual actions ultimately can be very humanitarian as well and benefit the collective. How can we do that in practical ways? That is part of what Saturn slowing down to a standstill is going to invite us to look at. And where is it that we can communicate that more effectively? Where is it that we can bring love to that journey? That's what this Venus trine Saturn is going to show us. But Saturn is such a strong energy this week, and the dominant energy as well. As we get to the very end of the week, it is going to be Saturn that stands still in the sky and officially goes retrograde. Now, this retrograde moment officially happens either very late in this week or the very beginning of next week. However, we are going to feel this retrograde motion as we move into the last days of this week. And I think that this just might be the most important celestial event taking place now, because it is Saturn's station retrograde that is, on the one hand, going to bring reality right to the surface. So when I was growing up, I might date myself here a little bit, back in the 90s, there was a movie called Reality Bites. That was actually a phrase that quite a few people said at times, reality bites. But essentially what that means is reality checks can be uncomfortable. And we may have some of that energy here. As much as early in the week, reality and heart, there's like an ease to the way in which we're able to accept the reality of a situation and feel as if we're able to transform circumstances in a stable way that we can feel good about, which means we feel good about our reality. It's still very mind-oriented with Venus and Gemini trining that Saturn. But once we get to the end of the week, the very, very end of the week, and Saturn goes retrograde. And again, some out there may experience this energy more at the very beginning of next week. But this idea of reality being stark, of us having to look at what's worth sacrificing and what isn't. Where is it that we've given enough, more than enough? Where is it that we've thought too much about the collective and not enough about ourselves? But also, where is it that perhaps we're thinking about ourselves too much and not enough about others? There is that contrast there, and it can go either way. It is a spectrum here. And so on the one hand, we have the collective, on the other hand, we have the individual. And there's these sliding needs that happen sometimes. And then sometimes we find that right balance. Well, wherever we are in our own journey as part of understanding individual responsibility and how that fits into the collective, I think some of that may show up at this time. Now, this station can also be very powerful for new ideas to come forward and how we're going to integrate them more fully and more deeply. Aquarius is also thought to be a very revolutionary energy. So where is it that a revolution needs to happen within our hearts, within our minds, within our thinking patterns? Now, what revolution means is very different to different people. But there are ways in which to integrate this energy that ultimately do align us with greater love and greater wisdom as well. In fact, revolution guided by love and wisdom has the potential to be that much more effective, but also that much more rewarding as well. But there is this sense of the energy perhaps being heavy as we get to the very end of the week. And I think it's also because we know that lunar eclipse is coming. We're feeling the weight of the lunar eclipse on the horizon. Now, there's something else happening on the lead up to this Saturn station, and that is on Friday, the sun is going to square Jupiter. Now, think back last week, Jupiter just stepped into a brand new sign. This, of course, is the tropical zodiac that I'm using. And as Jupiter has just stepped into this sign for just a few weeks until the end of July, this is going to be the first important alignment that Jupiter is going to make with another planet. And in this case, it is the sun. The sun has to do with our will, our sense of self, our center, where it is that we shine brightly. And it is the sun in the sign of Gemini at this point. Sun moves into the sign of Gemini on Thursday. Happy birthday to all the Geminis out there. But this is about communication and mind. I have a feeling as I look at this, and with Jupiter in Pisces magnifying the dream, making everything fuzzy, and fuzzy can be a lot of fun, right? But what this energy does suggest is miscommunications, misunderstandings. It also suggests communication modes going wonky in some way. Now, we are on the precipice of Mercury retrograde. That happens at the end of next week. I'll be here to talk about it every step of the way. But I remember telling you when Mercury went into shadow recently, this is going to be a particularly wonky Mercury retrograde season. So be on the lookout for that. And I think we're going to start to see some of that wonkiness already. Now, this on another level has to do with how it is language and expression and communication aligns with compassion or not, and what that's going to mean for us collectively and individually as well. Where is it that we could be speaking more compassionately to ourselves is going to be a powerful consideration of this time. The language that we use collectively and in the media, for example, the misuse of language, all of this may come to the surface in some way and may actually be part of that reality check that Saturn is promising as Saturn stands still in the sky. Now, with Saturn station, remember, if you are somebody who is prone to sensitivities especially emotional ups and downs, then it becomes that much more important to practice self-care. Whatever it is that you do to affirm healthy self-love, healthy self-care, make sure you're doing that. This is in a social energy. Aquarius is a social energy, an air energy. And so one thing that I think can help a lot of us out there where it comes to self-care at this time is talking, is having somebody to talk to, whether that's online, on social media, or otherwise. It is through modes of communication that we're able to understand some of this Saturnian energy and help to raise it in a way that serves us well. And how does Saturn station serve us well? It invites us to get honest about where it is that we are living congruently or incongruently with our own thoughts, with what it is that we are thinking. It invites us to bring together our actions with our faith. It was the Renaissance astrologer Marcello Ficino who said that he understood Saturn as the Christ principle. So he was also a priest as well. This is Renaissance Italy. And he spoke of how Saturn is faith without works is dead. That's what Saturn teaches us. And Saturn invites us to actually not only cultivate our faith, but make sure that that faith is real, that it's grounded, that it makes us better people as we move through a lived experience in the practical world. And there's something very powerful to be said for that. Jupiter, in and of itself, says if you believe it, it's enough. Have faith, and that faith is more than enough. But Saturn says it's amazing. Have your faith, absolutely. But make sure you back it up with action. Make sure you're being honest with yourself about how that faith is coming forward and if it is working for you or not. And it is Saturn stationed now in its home sign, especially powerful in its home sign. That is going to invite all of us to have a reality check, even if it's hard, even if it's uncomfortable. But ultimately, that reality check is needed because it is going to be that moment of reality that is going to help us to ensure that we are living in accordance to our faith in ourselves, and our faith in each other, and our faith in how it is that we as a collective are going to continue to be there for each other in meaningful ways. What I love about this week for us, well, look, there's a lot here. It's a very powerful astrological time. I love the energy at the beginning of the week. Like I said, the Sun trine Pluto, that is one of my absolute favorite energies that can play out. I've always found any action I take right around that time tends to go well. It's because we're able to focus ourselves. We're able to focus our will in a direction we desire to go. And I think that is one of the most sacred parts of being a human being. Even though we as a collective are far from perfect and we may have a long way to go, the truth is that we today, around the world, more people than ever before in human history live in peace, prosperity, and equality than ever before. And I know it's hard to see that sometimes, to appreciate that sometimes. But that is part of the statistical truth of the world that we live in. Again, there's further to go, there's a lot more to do, and we want to make sure that even more people live in that space of peace, prosperity, and equality until we get to the place where all of us around the globe are. And I do think that it is Saturn's station in the sign of Aquarius that may bring this very subject to the surface. How is it that more of us can live in peace, prosperity, and equality than ever before? What does that look like? How do we define that? How does that show up in practical ways? That may very well be part of the consideration now. But remember, Aquarius is a sign with a very strong dichotomy to it. On the one hand, it is about the collective. It is about thinking of others, but it's also highly individualistic. It's also about thinking of you. What is it that you need to feel that you are in alignment with greater peace within yourself? with greater prosperity. What do you define prosperity as? And are you aligned with it in meaningful ways to you? And what does equality look like to you in your own life, in your lived experience? Do you feel like you have that respect from others, but also from yourself as well? These very questions may be guiding us now in our individual paths. But the answers can be very rewarding. And part of what makes them so rewarding is that the answers will be tangible. They will be practical. And if we are willing to follow it up with our own action, we will cultivate a genuine self-respect that can last a lifetime. Well, thank you so much for watching. What do you love about this week? Let me know in the comments below. I love reading you guys. And to prove it to you, here are some of my most recent favorite comments. Thank you so much to everybody who likes, who comments, who subscribes, who shares, who thumbs ups, who turns on the notification, all of it. It means so much. Thank you for your love and your support of this channel. You have my gratitude. If you would like to know how all this wonderful stuff this week, all of these celestial aspects speak to you in your sign, log on to NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. Now you can be a superstar for as low as just $3 a month with Choose Your Tuition Rate. $3 a month gets you expanded, exclusive video scopes for each and every sign, each and every week. Higher tiers get you access and unlimited access to all of the special horoscopes that I put out, like the recent Jupiter in Pisces special horoscopes for your sign. And then even higher tiers get you class passes, consultations with me, and so much more. All of this in the superstar space at NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. I look forward to meeting you there. Jupiter in Pisces special horoscopes are now available at NadiyaShah.com or NadiyaShahSuperstars.com. At NadiyaShah.com, you can download the full video. If you're a superstar, you can gain access to all the special horoscopes that I do as well. Each video that I have produced is between 15 and 24 minutes long. So I really do dive deeply into what this transit is going to mean for you. I also did an overview video with preview horoscopes on YouTube, and I will link to them in the description below. Thank you so much to everybody who supports my work, who trusts me, who has downloaded these videos or is a superstar, is watching these videos. It really does mean so much to me to have your trust and that you find value in my work. That means so much to me as well. I hope you absolutely love these videos, that you cherish them, that you rewatch them again and again, because I do go through the key dates that I mentioned in the YouTube overview video. I actually talk about each of those dates and what that's going to mean for you in your sign. And I will link to the links that you may need to access your special horoscope for your sign for Jupiter in Pisces and what that's going to mean for you. Links are in the description below. Synchronicity University Summer School is right around the corner. Exciting classes coming up for as low as just $5 a class with Choose Your Tuition Rate. On for just a little while longer, about 2 more weeks left with Choose Your Tuition Rate. If you would like to take advantage of that and join us this summer, Saturdays live, or you get the download afterwards, no matter what time zone you're in, you'll get to take advantage and be part of these incredible classes that I will be teaching. So I am going to be teaching on the 4th house, on the 7th house, on the 3rd house. I'm going to be teaching pet astrology. I'm also going to be teaching rectification techniques as well, which is basically techniques that astrologers use to pinpoint a birth time for a person when you don't have their exact birth time. We're also going to be looking at the 5th house as well, which has to do with fun and windfalls and romance and so much more. So we've got lots of exciting classes coming up where we're looking at houses, but we're also looking at these special topics that so many of you have asked for. And again, if you sign up before the end of the month, if you sign up within the next 2 weeks, just 2 weeks left, you can choose your tuition rate as low as just $5 a class. A limited amount of scholarships are available as well. All of this and so much more information and so much more is at synchronicityuniversity.com. Link is in the description below. Synchronicity University May 2021 speaker series is underway, is full effect, and we have the one and only Stormie Grace, YouTube star Stormie Grace, is going to be joining us this week talking about magical Mercury retrograde. What wonderful timing she has, right? And I'm really looking forward to this class with Stormie helping us to tap into some of the higher understandings of Mercury retrograde and how we can use it to our advantage. So that's coming up this week. You can sign up for her class at synchronicityuniversity.com. Now, also part of the speaker series, we are going to have my friend Samuel Reynolds talking about the bending of the nodes, which is going to be a brand new technique that we're going to look at. For some people, it'll be brand new anyways, a way in which to tap into the lunar nodes in your chart that much more. And we are also going to have Acyuta from Nightlight Astrology, another YouTube star, and he is going to be talking about mystical Saturn. And so actually with Samuel and with Acyuta, I did these brief preview interviews with them. And so you can actually see them. I'll link to them in the description below, and you can learn more about that. And I look forward to seeing you in class this week with the one and only Stormie Grace. Link is in the description below. Synchronicity University presents traditional techniques for the 21st century astrologer with the one and only Michael Barwick, my friend, my astrologer, Michael Barwick. He is going to continue to teach his 5-part class. Now, this coming week, he's going to teach on debilities and joys and fortitudes. And this is about looking at the strength of a planet, continuing to look at where planets like to be in a chart, what house do they like to be in a given chart, and so much more. His classes are jam-packed with information. I know students absolutely love him. And they always talk about how much information they get and how much they feel like it is making them better astrologers. And so it is Michael that is taking traditional techniques and applying them to our modern world so that we can understand them more deeply and how to tap into them in our own charts as well. And he's going to have a lot more classes coming up as well over the course of this month and into the beginning of June. So you can learn a lot more about Michael's class and sign up for individual classes or all of them, get downloads to the classes he's already taught, and sign up to make sure that you get the downloads and you're able to join live if you want to for his upcoming classes at synchronicityuniversity.com. And a quick reminder, this coming Saturday at Synchronicity University, I will be teaching my 3rd class on the 8th house, looking at ruling planets of the 8th house. So we look at the sign on the cusp of the 8th house and the ruling planet, the position of the ruling planet, and what that means for you. How it is that you integrate these different energies and bring forward the energy of the 8th house into other areas of life, or bring other areas of life into your 8th house. So the 8th house is called money, power, respect. That's what I call it. It is consequential. It is important. It is deeply honest, deeply transformative, and an important part of the sky. Interestingly, a lot of astrologers have strong 8th house placements. And sometimes you can have an empty 8th house, but the ruler will be very strong in the chart. So I hope that you will have a look at that. You can learn more about that and sign up for that class at synchronicityuniversity.com. And finally, you can get my take on your unique birth chart by checking out my partnership with Cosmogram. Link is in the description below. What you'll do, you'll go onto the Cosmogram website, you'll enter your birth data, and from there, within hours, you will be emailed a report that looks at the different planetary aspects and placements in your chart and gives you my description of them in this report. I remember getting my first report way back in my teens, and it literally changed my life. I felt like I was reading myself on paper, and it ended up being very meaningful to me. And I still have that report actually in a box in my parents' house. And so my hope is that you love and cherish this report for a very long time to come, that it continues to illuminate your chart for you. And thank you to everybody who has ordered this, who loves it, who gives positive feedback for it. I truly am so grateful to each and every one of you. So again, check out my partnership with Cosmogram so that you can see what I say about your unique birth chart. Link is in the description below. And thank you. Thank you so much for watching. And as I said earlier, thank you for your trust in my interpretation of the sky. It truly does mean so much to me. I'm really looking forward to navigating Jupiter and Pisces with you guys. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. even with some of the challenging aspects this week, it's almost like we're trying to figure out what we're going to do with this new energy of Jupiter in the sign of Pisces, how we're going to integrate it, how we're going to make sense of it. But I think that we will find ourselves on the right track, and I'm looking forward to it. Be kind and gentle to yourselves as we approach the end of the week with Saturn station retrograde, and on top of that, the upcoming lunar eclipse that a lot of us are going to start to feel. It becomes that much more important to practice healthy self-love, self-care, whatever you need to make sure that you're okay is worth doing. And thank you again. It'll be a great week. Enjoy.